Hey guys, Luton here. Now, have you ever wondered how much stuff is destructible in Arma? That's what I was thinking about today, because if you watched the last mission, you would have noticed that the rocket artillery that I fired in did a hell of a lot of damage. And I thought it'd be interesting to showcase for you guys just how much destruction there is actually in Arma. Because I think Arma, often when people look at it, it feels very static, you know, it's not Battlefield. And I think people perceive that a lot of the objects in the game are non-destructible. This is actually far from the truth. Most of the objects are actually destructible of a certain degree anyway. It's not the same as Battlefield, but in fact actually a lot of the buildings are more destructible than some in Battlefield, and especially, you know, when we look at the latest iteration with Hardline. Hardline, there were a lot of buildings which were just totally non-destructible, which you would anticipate would have been. It wasn't the case. So let's look. I'm going to use a lot of different things. I'm going to use some artillery, tanks, some missiles and things like this. We're just going to blow up some buildings, and we're just going to see what happens. So let's start out with just a standard mortar round. I'm using Zeus to do this with. So let's take like this little square building right here. So initially, I'm gonna put some mortars just on the building right here. Put a couple of rounds in. 1, 2, and some blast markers and a little bit of sort of structural effect there, but not too much. And fire some more. Whoa. Okay, so you can see straight away that just those mortar rounds had a pretty heavy impact on that. But can we level it off even more? Well, let's try. I don't want to keep using those, so let's drop a howitzer on this thing. This is a 155mm shell. And yeah, that building is gone. So you can see that there is quite a heavy amount of destruction. Now, it is not the same style of destruction as in Battlefield, but it's destruction nonetheless. Let's try this 155 on this building right here. So we're just going to be, this is just one round in. Okay, so one round from that initially blows the crap out of it. And you can imagine that pretty much any infantry inside this building are going to be dead at that point. So the artillery is pretty heavy duty, but we haven't used the best one of all. This is the 230mm rocket round. What's going to be the best building to try this out on? Possibly the church. Let's try the church with the 230mm rocket round. I'm a bit scared. This is not one round, I should note, but more of a spread of rounds. So it's quite a lot. Oh, Jesus Christ. Well, when all of the... when it clears, we'll see what happened. And yeah, the church is totaled. So that's obviously pretty powerful. When you are actually firing the rockets in-game, they obviously don't fire quite like that. This is the fire support tab, but nonetheless, it shows that, you know, you can level those buildings. Let's try a CAS missile strike run. Now, the CAS runs are basically when you are calling in a A164 run or something along these lines. Let's try it on this building right here. We can choose from the wipeout or the buzzard. I'm going to choose wipeout. And you can adjust the direction in which they come in. So I'm choosing a strike that goes straight across here. So let's, you'll see the jet start to come in. It's actually the other way. Here he comes. And again, anybody in that building pretty much going to be totaled. And you can do this just as well if you're actually piloting the jet. So say, for example, there's some infantry hiding out in a building and it's been very difficult for your guys to get in there. They may mark that building and then you could specifically destroy that with one of your rocket pod strikes on that building. Now let's see just how, now we've been testing singular buildings, let's see what happens when we target multiple buildings. So I'm going to use the rocket attack again. I'm going to place it slap bang in the middle here, and let's see what effect this has. Yeah, Jesus, man, that was widespread. Look at this. It even caught buildings out over here. So, again, look, just absolutely flattened the whole area here. Anything inside of that is going to be absolutely wiped out. So you can see that nearly every building has some level of destruction to it. Okay, we have a totally different style of building, though. This is a sort of warehouse container building. People can get in here. They can go through the doors. Let's just drop a howitzer on this. We'll drop like 2. And we'll see kind of what level of destruction is. Now that's a different style of destruction. So instead of fragmenting out, what tends to happen is that the building goes through 2 states of kind of being, you know, built and destroyed. So it drops through the ground. And you can actually do this as Zeus. You can make things, you know, become destroyed. But yeah, again, nonetheless, you can see that that building is now in a state of destruction. So if an area was under sustained artillery fire, you would see this kind of destruction come in. Now we have got a building right here. Let's see what can happen if we actually use units on this instead. So you can see that artillery is very powerful and that buildings do have destruction. So I'm going to take a Rifleman AT. Put him here, actually. I'm going to take control of this chap. I'm going to choose his RPG. So this is the RPG, as you see here. It's not like an anti-tank sort of locking style missile. So we're just going to fire this at the building right here. 1 round does nothing. Reload. 2nd round does nothing. 3rd round. Nothing. Final round. Nothing. So you can see that those RPG rounds really didn't affect that building in any shape or form. Let's try another load. Probably should have copied that guy so I don't have to find him again. I'll do that this time. So what I'm trying to look at here is, does it just take a lot? Or do the RPGs literally have no effect? Ah, there we go. So that was on the 5th round. So you can see that, again, the RPGs are having an effect there. Let's just try this building right over here. And again, what I'm doing here is to see whether all the buildings have a similar requirement of destruction, and it seems like they do. I'm just going to finish this test. And the last one I think should do it. If it's going to work. Maybe it's one more. Yeah, there we are. So it seems like they do have a standard requirement of destruction. It seems like it takes a good 5 rounds, but nonetheless, now you know from kind of RPGs what that's going to take to destroy those. But now let's try some armor. We need a non-destroyed building, of which there are not many in the town now. Let's go for here. So now I'm going to drop in a slammer. And the slammer is basically your standard vehicle for the NATO forces. I'm going to go to the gunner's seat here on the main cannon. Okay, let's see what this does. 1 round. And it's just reloading. 2. This building is taking quite a kicking for 2 shells in it. 3. 4. 5. 6. Now you should note as well that this is the APF SDS rounds, which apparently are not doing anything. Let's change it up and reload the heat rounds instead. See whether this makes any difference at all. Yeah. The heat rounds, as I thought, are doing more damage. These are obviously the armor penetrating rounds. You can see the building starting to fracture. Still though, it's still taking an unbelievable kicking. I'm really, really surprised that this has not gone down. Look at this. It's just keep on taking the beating. Look, even then it's not gone down. Let's try hitting this wall right here. Oh, there we go. The wall and apparently the building finally fragmented. It's very interesting. I'm going to see if I can hit like another building, see whether it makes a difference. These turrets are always so loud. Try shooting this one up a bit. Takes a little while to reload these. But again, you can see it's quite surprising the difference between artillery and even the RPGs versus a tank shell. So it's a little inconsistent, and I think that, you know, actually on my previous video where I was talking about the X-ray vision thing, Bohemia actually watched that and addressed that issue, and I know that they're a little bit more aware of me as a producer now. So I perhaps hope that they will see this video and note the fact that these tank shells should really do a bit more damage to buildings than this. I'm pretty sure a plaster wall can't stand up to this kind of punishment. I'm just going to put another round in because I'm curious as to whether or not the building a minute ago exploded because of this, or because for some reason when we hit the wall, that fragmentation made it explode, which is a strange thing. Oh, there we go, finally down. So you can see they do go down, but I mean, man, they really take quite a beating. Let's come out of this vehicle now because I can't tolerate the sound of that turret anymore. What else could we use? Well, we have a couple of other vehicles available. We've got the Marshal, of course, and the Marshal is a slightly different vehicle. Let's put him in on this side of town. Actually, let's put him in from the water, why not? Yeah, let's do that. Actually, nah. Well, I was going to do that, but there's like no buildings with line of sight, so I will just chuck it down here. This one's not any better with the turret noise, I should point out. Sorry. Oh, actually it is. It's beautiful. It's silent. Great. It's also much easier to change through the rounds on this one. Right, so let's just start off with the cannon 40mm. Not a great amount of effect there from the look of it. We'll go straight to the, well, the APF. One good thing with this is you don't have to reload. Now I'm curious, I'm not entirely sure that this is going to actually do anything at all. We'll just cycle through the whole lot, because I'm wondering whether this is going to do any damage whatsoever. I mean, even that wooden door, you think it would do some. Oh, there we go. I'm just going to keep pounding this thing. We're out. So it did do some damage there, but it took like just the corner off of that building there. It really didn't do a lot of damage. So you can see vehicles versus buildings, not so good. In fact, even the infantry RPG seemed to be more effective at taking down the building than you know, a cannon shell was, which seems pretty surprising. What else could we use? Oh, I suppose helicopters. I can't call in a helicopter strike, but I could take control of a helicopter and strike some buildings. Let's just go for this one right here, I guess. I'll put some smoke for myself in a minute. Right, let's just get a NATO helicopter in the air. I'm not going to use the black, I'm going to use the pawning. Just get him in the air. Oh, what am I doing? Alt. Let's just get some smoke down here. Right, so let's see what this thing can do. Coming up on the target. Just going to fire the whole lot of this guy right here. And you can see that really wrecked that building. So as much as this helicopter is often sort of touted for not being so powerful, it clearly in one airstrike did a hell of a lot of damage there. Only got 5 remaining. Let's pull around and choose. Oh, there's a building right here. See what 5 will do for us. Oh, it blew a large chunk off the side of that building there. Yeah, so you can pretty much see that we did some good damage there. Let's pull around and check it out. Where are we at? Oh yeah, it's that pile of rubble you can see right there, look, just to the left. So we pretty much totaled that building. So yeah, very often the Pawnee is sort of, you know, touted as not being particularly useful in battle. People's like, oh, it's no good against anti-tank and so on. But if you had a load of guys hold up in a building and, you know, the infantry on the ground had no real effect, they could mark a building, say airstrike this target, you come in, just hit it with all of those rockets, bam, you're done. And like I said as well, even if it just clipped it, I mean, I only had 5 missiles on that and it really took out the end of this building. So again, those missiles hell of a lot more powerful, again, than those tank shells, and we saw the damage as well done by the A164. Right, so there we go, guys. That's been my little look at the destruction levels in Arma. Hope it's been interesting for you. I think they could do with some few little tweaks there in terms of damage from some of those tanks and things. I think they should be a hell of a lot more powerful. Even the RPGs, I think, you know, 1 or 2 rounds from those things really should do it. It shouldn't take 5 missiles or 5, you know, shells from the RPG to really do that level of damage anyway. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I will just leave you with this.